Well guys, Square Enix graced us with a demo for Final Fantasy 16 today, so we're going to take a look at it on my RTX 4090 Ryzen 7800X 3D at 4K. This is a great game. I actually played most of this on the PlayStation 5, really enjoyed it. Awesome action, awesome music, great story. Well, let's take a look at the PC settings because Square Enix are not known for their PC ports. As a matter of fact, they have a very bad track record. But if we look at the settings here, we're going to be focusing on 4K, by the way. And we have all the super resolutions. We have XeSS, FSR, DLSS with frame generation as well. We're going to stick with DLAA, no dynamic resolution, and all the settings are maxed out. And this game was actually very demanding on the PlayStation 5. I remember that the performance mode actually ran at like 40, 50 FPS sometimes, looked blurry. And look at, even with a 4090 at 4K, we seem to have some trouble maintaining a 60 FPS lock. But this is with DLAA as well, so we can actually make some changes. Now the game is very detailed. It looks absolutely fantastic. Cutscenes are awesome looking, but locked to 30 FPS like they were on the PlayStation 5. So that is actually, that sucks. Other things that I've discovered is the game does not support ultra-wide. I tested on my ultra-wide display. It does not support it, unfortunately. So it's still a step forward for Square Enix, though, because it's definitely a better port than Final Fantasy VII Remake, for example, which had no DLSS, no nothing. But yeah, we seem to be at around 60 FPS. At 4K native with DLAA. Let's go ahead and try some DLSS Quality. We'll go to DLSS Quality. Alright, well that takes us to 76, around 70 FPS, so a pretty decent jump actually. Now DLSS actually looks pretty good. I'm trying to see if there's any ghosting. You would normally see it with the butterflies, and looks pretty good actually. Matter of fact, let's test out FSR. Why not? Let's go FSR 3 with upscaling set to quality. You do have FSR native AA as well, by the way. Okay, so FSR has a little bit of ghosting if you look at that butterfly, but it's honestly not bad. Looks pretty good. And the FPS gain is pretty good as well. Yeah, this is actually not bad with FSR. At least at a glance, it doesn't look bad. Let's go back to DLSS though. Yeah, I love the way this game, the lighting in this game looks amazing. I mean, it's not ray traced or anything, but they've done a pretty good job. The shadows too. There's no flicker with the shadows, which is definitely an annoyance of mine. I hate flicker. This game, it's very clean looking. Inside the castle looks awesome. Yeah, look at man, this looks amazing. Looks really good. This here is like the very first quest that you go into. We're going to take a look at some combat. And this game can be a bit difficult to show you guys because there's a lot of interruptions and cutscenes because it's the beginning of the game. They show you tutorials and stuff. They do a pretty good job into doing that. But it's not a complicated game though. This is an action game at heart. And I believe here we should enter some combat. We're going to skip the 30 FPS cutscenes, although you should watch them when you play this for the first time. They do a very good job. But let's take a look at some combat and see how the performance... let's see if there's going to be any stutter. This is the very first time I'm doing this combat, by the way. So if there is any shader caching issues, you should be able to see them. We do have a couple of hitches here and there, but I would say it's not too bad. 1% lows are still in the 60s. That's pretty good. It's definitely a lot better than most games, for sure. But yeah, I think this kind of wraps up DLSS Quality though, and FSR Quality seem to give the same level of performance. We can try some frame generation. Alright, so here we go. DLSS 3 frame generation. And it looks to be like hitching a bit, guys. Now, I don't know if this is because it's going above my monitor's refresh rate. This doesn't happen in some games. but here it is for some reason. So what we're gonna do is let's try putting it back to DLAA. Hopefully we can stay below that 120 hertz. Yeah, now it's smooth. Interesting. So it looked like it was because we were going over my monitor's refresh rate. Now, this does not happen in other games with the frame generation that I've played. But let's try FSR, actually. Let's try FSR frame generation. I'm just curious now. Frame generation with FSR quality. Yeah, same thing with FSR. So, okay, so it must be how the game handles going over your display's refresh rate then. Okay. Well, then there's no reason for me to use frame generation in this particular case, because I can just stick with DLSS quality and remain at 90 FPS instead of DLAA and frame generation. All right, cool. That's fine. No problem. Let's continue forward.
There's more.
Oh, come on, man. Like, this game gives you a lot of tutorials, but it can be annoying sometimes. I mean, I get it. It's supposed to be like the starting area, but it's just annoying sometimes. Take that, goblin. Well, guys, I think that about wraps it up. I mean, seems to be around 60 FPS, native 4K with DLAA, and DLSS quality takes you to 90 FPS, which is pretty good. Yeah, game is demanding, but I think rightfully so. Game looks really, really nice. And everything is maxed out. So, yeah. There's going to be a boss coming up, but probably save it for one of my other GPUs. But anyway, guys, I think that's going to be it for this video. Thanks for watching. And I'm going to have to look at Wukong next.